I have a little bit of homework for you in this video right here as we go through it. This is Brian Tyler Cohen giving a fiery speech, at the No Kings protest. But here's your homework. I want you to identify for me specifically one person who participated in the No Kings protest who is not currently perpetuating the current corrupt authoritarian system that we have always had. When they say no kings, they really mean we don't want you to have your king, but we want to have our own king. We want King Obama or King Biden or King Hillary or King Harris. They do want a king. And when I say king, I'm using that in quotes because we don't have a monarchy. We have a representative constitutional republic. It just means there are a few ruling the many instead of one ruling the many. It really doesn't matter. The bottom line is we have rulership in this country, and the people who are supposed to be representative of the people in that rulership structure are actually just patsies and puppets for corporate elitists, special interests, and the lobbyists who actually run Washington's District of Criminals. But they're not protesting against that. They're just protesting against King Trump. They'd be perfectly fine with the Democrat libtard king. So it's so easy to pick on the libs when the people who represent conservatives or Team MAGA currently support an administration that's trashing the economy with tariffs and making deals with Pfizer as they devalue our currency and cover for a blackmail pedo ring, not releasing the Epstein files. But let's listen to Brian Tyler. This is what democracy looks like, Cohen.
What's up, Los Angeles? God, I love living in the bastion of democracy, the bastion of resistance against Trumpism. LA, let's hear it!
If LA is the bastion of democracy, then the founding fathers were right. Democracy is two wolves and a lamb deciding on what to have for dinner. It's the tyranny of the majority.
Beautiful. Now, I'm sure that you've seen the panic, the overwhelming panic from Republicans about today. But do you know why they hate what we're doing here and what we're doing in 2,500 other cities across America?
That's just totally made up. There is no panic. There's no perceived panic. This is just propagandized panic. This is pretend panic, Brian. Good job.
And across the world, because here, their pressure does not work. Because we're not a law firm that can be bought off. We are not a university that can be bought off. We're not a tech CEO that can be bought off. We are not a media outlet that can be bought off. They hate what we're doing here because you cannot buy off millions upon millions of people taking to the streets.
But it is a crowd of indoctrinated lemmings with brain-pickled frontal lobes. They're easily led astray, and it's always going to be easier to deceive the masses, especially the masses in LA, than it will be to convince them that they've been deceived. And Brian Tyler Cohen is standing there deceiving them right now with his shallow words.
Because we are not leveraged by the federal government. We can't be cowed into submission because of some sick obsession with money.
Sure you can. People are cowed into submission by their sick obsession with money every single day, and you're one of them, Brian.
Proximity to power.
I mean, your gravy train is the leftist propaganda machine.
Because millions of people taking to the streets right now destroys the optics that Donald Trump has total control. So do me a favor, take a look at the people around you. Does this look right here like Donald Trump has total control?
Donald Trump is a puppet. How do people not understand this? The people who control the issuance and value of a nation's currency are the ones who are truly in control. They're the ones who are setting and approving the policies that really matter. But Brian Tyler Cohen never talks about this. He never talks about the domestic terror cell known as the IRS. He never talks about the elimination of the income tax. He never gets on to Donald Trump for not eradicating property taxes. Why? Because Brian Tyler Cohen is pro-government, pro-leftist government, pro-statist leftist government, but pro-government nonetheless. So he's not arguing for freedom. He's arguing for a different flavor of tyranny and authoritarianism.
That right there is why he and his party are so desperate to shame you for being here. That is
playing the two-party paradigm here.
Why they're so desperate to rebrand this thing as a hate America rally. But you know what hating America looks like? Hating America looks like screwing over farmers and bailing out Argentina instead.
That is true. That is true. A broken clock is right twice a day, and Brian's right here.
It looks like sending secret police accountable to no one into our cities.
Yeah, that's true. Obama did the same thing during Katrina. He utilized the National Guard and they were confiscating weapons. Yeah, that's true. Every political, parasitic, psychopathic puppet does this to one extent or another, overtly or covertly.
It looks like silencing comedians for the crime of making fun of dear leader.
That's true.
It looks like gifting yourself a $400 million jet from Qatar. It looks
like Obama and Biden and Clinton never received any gifts. Such hypocrisy.
Like building a $200 million ballroom to assuage your fragile ego while 40 million Americans are living in poverty.
This is true.
It looks like blocking the release of the Epstein files.
Amen.
Like stripping away Medicaid from 17 million Americans. It looks like right now keeping the government closed because you are so fucking hellbent on stripping away healthcare from 24 million Americans and trying to get their costs to double, triple, or quadruple. So if you're looking for the Hate America rally, might I suggest the White House?
The government is not technically really closed. I know it is on paper, but we're 19 days into this thing. When they come back online, everybody's going to get back pay. It will have done absolutely nothing, just like it never does anything. What we really need is a real federal government shutdown. That's what we need. We need to take spending to zero. We need to eliminate all of the gun laws. We need to bring all of our troops home and close all of the military bases all across the world. And we need to institute sound money as we try and prosecute and punish the banksters and the corporate elitists.
We are here not because we hate America, but expressly because we love it. Because we know that this is a country worth fighting for. This is a country worth saving. We are here because we know that this could be a country where everybody has health care.
It's really not a country. And if you give everybody health care, that means that's mass theft, national extortion to supply free things, which it's not free. Somebody's going to be paying for it. Basically, you're talking about further socializing the economy more than it's already socialized. Remember, the government can't give you something it hasn't first stolen from someone else. And a government that's big enough to give you everything you want, like Brian Tyler Cohen wants that government to be that big, is big enough to take everything you've got.
Where we take our obligation to tackle climate change seriously.
Climate change? The problem, reaction, solution, Hegelian dialectic, climate change, where the government creates the problem, waits for the fear-based reaction. Oh, government, please save us. Okay, that's going to cost you a lot of money. We're going to start issuing carbon credits and you're going to have to pay for that. Okay, whatever. We just don't want the polar ice caps melting. Okay, here we come to implement the pre-planned solution we had waiting in the wings the entire time to come full circle and solidify the deal.
Protect our seniors by protecting Social Security. A country where there are not two tiers of justice, one for Republican politicians and another for everybody else.
There's always going to be two tiers of justice. There's going to be the government tier and the peasant tier, the master tier and the plantation worker slave tier. It's always going to be like that as long as we have the Brian Tyler Cohens of this world saying it's okay to have tax cattle and slaves on the plantation as long as we provide for their needs by stealing from the other slaves on the plantation.
A country where we fight to defend what is now the world's oldest continuous democracy, and despite Trump's best efforts, will continue to be the world's oldest continuous democracy.
Notice all their focus and all their ire is laser pinpointed on the puppet called Trump, and not the people who back Trump, not the people who fund and animate and pull the strings of marionette Trump and Biden and Harris and Obama.
See where the people rule and not kings. So I have one more request here. If any of you who are marching today see any agitators, do not engage. Do not give this administration any reason to do what they are so desperate to do, which is to engage in violence to justify these troop deployments across the country. We all have a role to play here. So
oh yeah, Brian, tell me another one. Like the left never engages in violence. They're the perfect angels, and it's only the MAGA demons who are at fault.
Everybody be safe. And one last thing. Fuck Donald Trump! Fuck Donald Trump! Fuck Donald Trump! Thank you, everybody. That was earlier today at the No Kings protest in downtown LA. I was joined by tens of thousands of protesters in Los Angeles who took to the streets to make their voices heard in what ultimately became the largest protest in American history, with over 7 million Americans in 2,700 cities and communities across the country.
Imagine that. The largest protest in American history, calling for what? True freedom, free markets, sound money, the elimination of the Federal Reserve and the IRS and the income tax and property tax. No, the elimination of a king that we don't have, and the call for authoritarianism, more authoritarianism, which we already do have, but they just want it to be team blue and not team red.
What makes the turnout even more impressive is that many people came out despite the looming threats of violence.
It's actually depressive because it lets you know how many people are still brain pickled and indoctrinated into believing that the government, as long as it's your brand of government, is going to save them.
Organic as the result of this political climate, and inorganic at the hands of a president who has been haphazardly deploying troops wherever he can. There was particular concern that he would use any violence whatsoever as a pretext to be able to invoke the Insurrection Act and turn our troops against American citizens, given the ease with which he's already deployed our military into Los Angeles, Portland, and Chicago, despite there being no justification whatsoever to do so.
I agree. That's standing armies on foreign soil. Our founders warned us against that. And here we are. Team MAGA is applauding heavy-handed military intervention.
And look, if you watch my content, you know that I rarely, if ever, make these videos about me. But even I personally was worried about going out and being on stage publicly in a world where just a month ago we watched as a political commentator got assassinated. I had friends and family.
You should be worried. You're a famous millionaire who's going out among people that are unsettled in their souls. They're volatile. They're poor. And when they see a rich guy walking among them, of course your life is going to be in danger.
Urging me not to go, and I understand why. And so I was considering not going for that very reason, but I weighed that against what it would mean to not go, to allow myself to be cowed into silence by bad faith actors who want nothing more than to take my voice away, to make me feel too afraid to be out in public for fear of someone committing an act of violence.
Brian, stop patting yourself on the back. You're not that important. I mean, your numbers are huge. You have a lot of viewers. You get tons of views. But if these so-called bad actors really wanted to take your voice away, they would have already taken your voice away, not amplified it. I mean, this guy appears on Piers Morgan. Do you appear on Piers Morgan? Do I appear on Piers Morgan? Do you get an audience with Governor Gavin Newsom or any of the senators and congressmen in Washington's District of Criminals? Did the President of the United States roll out the red carpet for you? Nope. They did roll it out for elitist Brian Tyler Cohen, though. And make no mistake about it, he is an elitist propagandist. And this multimillionaire has tons of scripts that continue to deceive the low-hanging fruit of the leftists.
I could have stayed home and continued to make content and reach plenty of people, but it's not about that. It is about getting out into the streets and doing my part to be one of the more than 7 million Americans who marched today. And I felt personally like it was important to do that.
It was important to march for authoritarianism, as long as it's our authoritarianism.
with the heightened risk of being a political commentator out in public, and with the heightened risk of a president who is chomping at the bit to escalate tensions because he is looking for any excuse to deploy the military against Americans.
This is true. There's always an escalation of tensions. And why is that? Because it's very important to continue to solidify and enforce the political two-party system divide. And that's exactly what Brian Tyler Cohen does. He's playing his part.
And frankly, I'm glad I did go. So to that point, I want to say thank you to everybody who came out, not just for standing in solidarity with so many people who needed to know that we're not alone, but for also doing it peacefully. For sending a message to the right that we will not be goaded into violence, for pushing back on this ridiculous Republican narrative that the left is dangerous or traffics in violence, and personally for helping somebody like me who's been left pretty spooked in the aftermath of the Charlie Kirk shooting of going into public events or going into public.
We will not be goaded into violence. We will not support violence. Oh yeah, what are you doing, Brian? I'm supporting politicians who will write laws that will initiate violence on the rest of us, like anti-gun laws that will criminalize honest, hardworking, innocent gun owners in America. Just as one example of one of the many oppressions that I want to befall all Americans, while I'm claiming that I'm really for peace and against rulership and kingship. Way to go, Brian.
Public spaces. Being at the No Kings protest restored some faith in humanity that we can make our voices heard without compromising our safety.
In working my way through an entire pool and ocean of lemmings, restored my hope in humanity.
A message to Trump voters out there who have spent the last week being conned by your elected officials that the left...
That's what elected officials do on the right and the left, Brian. They're con men. They're frauds. That's what politicians are. They're liars.
Some violent cabal looking to seek vengeance on cities or Republicans or police or each other. I hope there comes a point where you recognize that the left is not your enemy. Your enemy is a political party, elected officials that need to rely on demagoguery to distract you because their agenda is too unpopular to stand on its own.
Your enemy is a political party? Which one? Oh, it's the Republicans. But you know it's a uniparty. You know that, Brian. No matter if it's Republican or Democrat, we're always going to get a massive increase in national debt, which is a massive devaluation of the dollar. We're going to get a massive raise for the military-industrial complex and the prison-industrial complex. There's going to be a perpetuation of the drug war, no matter left or right. They'll deepen the defense contractors' pockets, and they will continue to submit to Israel, whether it's Team Red or Team Blue. You frickin' propagandist puppet.
At some point, I hope you can see that the problem here is not the left. It is the wealthy politicians and their donors who sick the working class on itself so that no one sees the con being perpetuated at the top. Hopefully the events of today bring you all a little closer to that reality.
The con is being perpetuated from the top of both parties. The RNC and the DNC are both corporate entities. The guy that they put at the top of the heap is just a CEO who doesn't act as the president of the United States, but the president of a Title 28, Section 3002, 15A federal corporation. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comments section below. If you haven't done so already and you want to support this channel, you can do it for free. Just like this video, share it with everybody you know. Subscribe to my email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. Take a second to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell notification icon, and I will see you in the next video.